All right, and welcome to this special episode of Real Estate Fight Club. This is a series called What Would You Do?, where we talk about professional standards committee cases and code of ethics violations. Here with me today is JimCamarata from Keller Williams in Minnesota. Hello, Jim.
Hello, Jen. How are you doing today?
I am ready to fight you.
Okay,
Ah,
this is going to be a good one. This is going to be controversial.
this one's about symbols, right?
Mhm.
All right,
Yep, and not
give
the
us the
kind that you see in
goods.
the bands. Okay, so here's what happened. A buyer was looking online, as they sometimes do,
Mostly
and
over 90% of the time. That's where they start. Yes.
and this one particular buyer found a house and started looking through the photos.
Okay.
In the photo was up on the wall, a Confederate flag.
Okay.
And this particular buyer felt offended by it.
Uh-huh.
And she filed a complaint that she feels that the Confederate flag is a symbol of racial exclusion, and that the listing broker's display of the photos conveyed a preference and discrimination based on race.
I can see why they would say that. Okay.
She filed an ethics complaint, Article 10, and so they took it to the hearing.
What does
And
Article 10 say?
Article 10, in the broad sense, says, shall not deny equal professional services to any person for reasons of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity.
Did that
Realtor,
happen?
hang on, not finished yet. Boy, you want to fight already. Realtors, you're feisty today.
I know.
Realtors shall not be parties to any plan or agreement to discriminate against the person based on these characteristics. And Article 10-3 specifically, realtors shall not print, display, or circulate any statement or advertisement with respect to selling or renting a property that indicates any preference, limitations, or discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. And then
Okay.
furthermore, Article 10-5, which is the newer one, realtors must not use harassing speech, hate speech, or slurs based on any of these 7 protected classes.
This is a hard
Those were the
one.
allegations.
Hmm?
It is. It is. Because in the buyer or potential buyer's mind, the Confederate flag is a symbol of racism.
And
Be it right or be it wrong, that's how she perceived it, and many others perceive it as such.
I agree. And so that's because I think that I wonder too if it's like a majority of the population would think that. But I do think that there is a small portion of the population that just believes it's a symbol of. Anyway, uh, this is a hard one
I
because
know.
it's like I agree with the person that complained. Like, I think it's part of neutralizing the home, right? And if you want, as the seller, if you want to get what you want, you have to give the buyer what they want, right? And so that most of that is neutralization. You paint the pink walls, you paint them a neutral color. The flags and the religious stuff, like, you take down pictures of your family, like, you minimize that type of stuff, right? And so it feels like nobody lives there really.
It
The
almost becomes
problem,
like a new home sales model.
yes, exactly. Like, yes, you make it look not lived in. Now,
Yep.
the kind of the rub for me, while I agree, and I do think there's a violation because it literally says, like, you cannot advertise it, and it wasn't an advertisement because it was online, right? So I think they did violate the code. For me, the rub is, where does it end? Because people get offended at so many things
I
that
know.
you can regularly inadvertently offend anybody at any time. And it's like, okay, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do. I do. And that's why I use a stager for my listings, because she'll go in with a different pair of eyeglasses and say, okay, you need to neutralize this, you need to do
Right.
that. This is to make it more marketable. It's kind of
Right.
like selling a used car. You
Yeah.
know, what do? You wash it, you wax it, you vacuum it out, you
Take
get
all
rid
your
of all
crap
the
out
empty
of
beer
it.
cans.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
clean out the trunk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. And at the same time, there's this like little something in my back of my mind that's like, yes, and yes, but like, where
Well,
does this end?
I know it becomes Big Brother, from
Yeah,
the novel 1984. George Orwell talks about Big Brother controlling every
I
aspect of your
just
life.
reread that book. It is
Isn't that
so
good?
good.
It's scary. Yeah. So I understand where you're coming from. Did you want to take your commercial break now, and then we'll come back to the
Yeah, it
conclusion?
feels pretty cut and dry. So I'm interested to hear like what happens. But yeah,
Sure.
so let's take a break. I want to tell you about two of our favorite sponsors. The first one is my coach, Coach John Kitchens. And a lot of us right now are trying to figure out what is our path? Where are we going? Is this it? What's next? So, Coach Kitchens has created a quick quiz for us to find out to help us. And that's at www.realestatecareeraccelerator.com. Now, you have to be able to spell
Whoops.
to get on this one. But again, it's realestatecareeraccelerator.com. The second one I want to tell you about is our favorite VAs. So we're all doing work. If you can figure out what your dollar per hour is, you will stop doing work that is $15-$20 an hour work, which you're pretending keeps you busy, but it's not. Instead, get a VA, which is a virtual assistant to help you with all the paperwork, help you with transaction coordination, help you with doing your social media. And our favorite partner for that is Cyberbacker. So go to cyberbacker.com, input Fight Club, and you will get a special prize. All right. Now, so they went to the hearing, and what
Hmm.
happened?
Yeah, the listing broker testified that he should not be held responsible for what is displayed in a client's home,
Okay.
and couldn't offer any other explanation. Well, the hearing panel did not agree. They say, yeah, the listing broker is indeed responsible for the content that is publicly displayed.
Right. That's
Uh,
the issue. Like it could be at the house, but you don't put that picture up.
mhm. And they discussed whether the display of the flag indicated an illegal preference or discrimination, but using the standard of whether a reasonable person, that's kind of a legal term, reasonable person would think the display of the Confederate flag convey a discriminatory preference. The hearing panel determined that the listing broker's inclusion, intentional or not, with the display of the flag and whatever other photos, that it could be construed as indicating a racial preference or illegal discrimination based on the protected classes. So it was in violation of Article 10, 10-3, and 10-5.
It feels like
So,
a clear violation. I can see the
yeah.
listing agents. Yeah. And unfortunately, we have this overlay of like, we are responsible for the advertising, right? And so, like, that picture can't be put there. But I think that there are some parts of the country and in some places where that specific flag is normal.
And national pride.
Yeah.
It's national pride. I'm from wherever in the South, and we fought hard during the Civil War. Well, guess what? That was
But y'all
well
lost.
over 100 years ago.
You lost.
And what was it over? It was over,
Right.
some injustices. So
It's a weird
anyway,
thing. It's a hard thing. But I mean, there read the article again, will you? The one that says about you can't advertise it.
shall not print, display, or circulate any statement or advertisement with respect to selling or renting of a property that indicates any preference, limitations, or discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. That's 10-3. 10-5 says realtors must not use harassing speech, hate speech, or slurs or epithets.
Right, obviously.
Okay,
Okay, so then
just don't do it.
Okay, so here's what I'm hearing from that. Let's take it off of the Confederate flag or whatever what do they call it in the South? Do they call it a Confederate flag there?
I don't know. I'm from New England.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. And let's say, okay, so somebody who's a hunter that has like a lot of animal heads, that's okay because it's not like limiting anybody.
And
But
it's not a violation of any of the protected classes. Deer and elk and such are not protected classes.
right, they're not protected classes, but
designated by the DNR. Yeah.
yeah. But if you have like a shrine to Buddha or you have a religious symbol of some kind, like can't be in the pictures. It can stay up in the house, but it cannot be in the pictures.
Yeah, and again, we're really getting into a gray area here, and
That doesn't feel gray. That's what it says.
I know what it says, but you have to think about your audience and what is going to make this house more marketable, more saleable to the broadest range of people, and not to be perceived in any way, shape, or form as discriminatory
Offensive.
or offensive in the minds of the potential buyers.
Right, which is the neutralizing conversation.
Neutralize.
Like, sellers, do you want to sell the house? Yes. Do you feel that if we cast the widest net possible, we will get the most amount of money? Yes. Is the most amount of money what you want? Yes. Okay. Then we need to cast the widest net possible, which means neutralizing the home. Now, I know it's going to feel like you don't live here and this is not, but that's what we're trying to make you not live here. Can we agree on that? Okay, then let's just neutralize it, right?
We want you out of there.
Right. Well, that's the point. That's why they hired me to get them out of there, right? You can keep the house or you can cast a small net or we can cast a wide net. Which is better for you? You know what I mean? And like having that conversation, then it's like not hard anymore. It's like, which one do you want? Because here's the rules I have to follow based on your choice. That's it.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah. And even just psychologically, when I list a house, I start referring to it as a house, not as your home.
Right.
It's no longer your home.
Yeah. Start packing.
It's a house.
Yes.
It's a commodity. It's a product.
I love it. Well, Jim, if people have a referral for you in Minnesota, they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
I love referrals. JimCamarata at kw.com or call at 612-562-7461.
Perfect.
And I do answer my phone immediately.
Thank you. Yes, you do.
Unless I'm with a client. All
right. Have a good one, Jim. See ya.
Thanks.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a podcast.